Hello and welcome to my channel. Well, a viewer of mine suggested something that I'm kind of modifying. He said you could do a video of you putting up 10 of your favorite Rough Riders. Well, what I'm going to do is a tray of Rough Riders. And the reason why I can't do 10 of my favorite Rough Riders is because this is why I collect knives. I don't like these things where they say if you could only pick 3 knives out of your collection, if you could only pick 1 fixed blade, if you could only pick 1 color of, that's just, I guess, for people who have a hard time narrowing down stuff, to help them narrow it down. But in reality, my mind always jumps to the main premise of the whole thing, which is why am I down to 1 knife or 3 knives? What the hell's going on? And if I've got time to make a choice in a selection of knives and stuff, then it's going to be probably whatever's available. But it's the same if you've got like 150 or 200 of one particular brand of knife, if somebody asks you, pick your favorite one, or pick 10, or pick out however many out of them, well, some of them might be redundant, and you've got more, that you like or don't. But what I was trying to do is pick one out of each pattern that I like and explain why I like that pattern. Because, see, this is why I started collecting Rough Riders. I didn't know about all the different traditional patterns. I had only been exposed to a few of them in my childhood and then put traditional knives out of my mind. So I didn't know about a lot of them. And one of the best ways to do it, you've got fairly decent quality and inexpensive price. You can pick up not only patterns but series. That's one of the reasons why I started picking. This will be the first one, will be a toothpick, tiny toothpicks. And a lot of people say, that blade's so thin, and what could you do with that and everything? You'd be surprised. Tobias did a couple of years ago, did a 2-part series on tiny toothpicks, because he said he was getting into a conversation between him and Slick Slicers, and Slick Slicers have been collecting these, and they were both talking about how they really don't use them much. They just collect them. I actually use them, and I'll tell you what I use them for. I have it sitting right beside my recliner. The TV's up here. Here's a recliner right here, and right next to the recliner is a table, and on top of that table I've got boxes of knives. But right beside me, right where my left hand would be, is a tray maybe about this size, that I've got a dozen toothpicks sitting there, and then other little small knives, so I can just reach over and pick. And the advantage of this is, if you don't have a lot of room to collect, but you like to collect stuff, toothpicks are one of the smallest ones you can get, and you still have at least a 2-inch cutting edge that you can do a lot of cutting with. As far as this prying, a lot of people look at this as a disadvantage, but you've got to keep in mind, traditional knives where each knife was usually for a specific or, general type of task or purpose, they were going to be doing something with them. And this may have just been a miniaturization of the regular size, toothpicks, Texas toothpick or whatever. This might have, I don't think it was ever originally intended as a toothpick, like to stick in your mouth and dig around. I can see this is gonna, we only got on the first knife, and we can make this in series. I'm just gonna break it down. I'm gonna do a tray of knives and go through what I like about them and what I like about the pattern. But the main thing that this thing is useful for, that bigger knives can't do, is detailed cleaning out work. You can get in these shields, you can scrape off little tiny stuff, you can get into blade wells that you can't get into. You can use the back of it if you don't want to scrape something, and you can also put some cloth in there, you know, like a gun cleaning patch or whatever. So I use them a lot to clean other knives. That's one thing. And then just to look at, you know. There's nothing wrong with having a knife sitting there and just look at it and feel it. You know, this one's got like smooth pearl. It looks pretty cool. There's nothing wrong with having a knife for that. You know, your collection is whatever your collection is. If you don't like these particular knives, then guess what? You're not going to have any of those in your collection. I wanted one example of every type of traditional pattern I could find, and with Rough Ryder, there's a lot of them. So I just went through and picked up everything. So that's the first one. You know, it's a little knife. Now we'll go to another one. This is another pattern that I find useful. It's a little lockback 3-finger knife. They call it the Cub. This is in, I think, their copper series with black bone and copper bolsters. I don't remember what they call that one. But this size of knife is pretty cool. Now again, you just have a little small blade, but this one at least is thicker for those that were worried about. Now you can do a little bit more prying and everything. You don't think these would do much. This is the one that put the scar on my hand here, you know, because I was doing something stupid. I was cutting towards myself through plastic. Plastic always seems to be the one that gets me. And it broke and came through, and my thumb stopped it by getting cut up. But these are pretty useful. Right, here's another little small one. The small cotton sampler. These are useful if you want to make like you want to carve out little spoons or clean out the inside of jar lids and stuff like that. You know, you've got this right here that'll help dig it out. You could spread butter and stuff like that. That's the other thing. One knife is not going to do everything. This one, yeah, it's not going to be good at spreading jelly and jam because it has no belly, you know. And it's not going to be good at prying things up like this because guess what? You're going to break that or snap it, you know. But you just know the limitation of each knife and what it was. And you don't always have to just sample cotton, you know, with this. This also makes an excellent box cutter, you know. And it's kind of like a little Barlow, you know. You can get out your whole, I can get my whole hand on there. So that's pretty cool. Let me get to some of the bigger ones. Let's see what our time is doing. All right, I got to speed it up a little bit. Maybe we'll get through some more. Big Daddy Barlows. These are cool because first off, the reason why I like this one is because it's ram's horn. Oh, this other one, the reason why it was personal is because you know, it bit me, and it was the first one that I got of that particular type. And this was a small cotton sampler, was the first one I got of that type, and I just like that smooth tobacco bone kind of thing. This one is in ram's horn bone. They did a pretty good job of it. This was a gift also, so which makes this one special. Cameron sent it to me. So I like those. This is a nice long blade. You can still get up on it if you're worried about it closing on you. But it doesn't lock, so if you're ever doing a lot of like stabbing, just keep that in mind. This right here is I think this is a large toothpick size. Yeah, my hand if it sticks out beyond my hand, it's a large. I'm not as fond of large toothpicks because mainly, I mean, this is really basically protecting the blade with this length. But if it's non-locking, the longer it gets, now this one's got a good area to choke up on, but if you've ever held you're only going to do this once or twice in your life. If you ever held a traditional slip joint incorrectly and you do something incorrectly like stab and you meet some resistance, let's say that it was something as soft as hay, but then all of a sudden there was a 2x4 behind it. And you're just stabbing through there, just playing around like, oh, let's see how far I'll stab in. And you don't realize that this far in is a 2x4. This far out is hay. So you're thinking soft, and it's going soft. And if you're holding it like this, the blade's going to meet some resistance. And if you're going at the wrong angle, your hand can go like that, and the blade can start closing on you. Now, even with this, because it's got a nice long kick, it's going to warn you, you know. It's going to give you a chance. It's going to, if your hand stays there, it's going to pinch your finger, but it's not going to cut it. But anyway, The thing is just to remember what you've got. The reason why I like this one is I really like the way it's saw cut bone. You know, it's the fluted bolsters there. It just looks really nice. Now they make another one that's a medium size. That's the Prince Tickler that I like better. It's similar to this and shiny, but we're just doing this one right now. This is like that size. All right. This one is really great too because it has that saw cut bone on it and everything, but it's a folding hunter. And I used one of these earlier to cut some cardboard. Man, do they slice. It's got the saber grind on it, you know, hollow and saber cut on it. It just goes through cardboard like crazy. Nice big long blade. Looks nice. Got that buoy, big old buoy on the shield there. No half stop on that one. Then you've got a skinning type of blade and everything. This one came in a nice little tin presentation box. All right, we're at 11 minutes. I'm going to go about 15 minutes for these because if I get up to 30 minutes or 25 minutes, I got to delete memory and the thing crashes sometime. All right, well, we've talked about this guy recently, so we'll go up on this side. Half hawks. Now, they've got something I want to get in the classic carbon 2, which is a single blade half hawk. So it's not going to be as wide as this, and you're not going to have the other blade. But usually when I get a half hawk, I don't use the other blade on it. I mean, it's okay to have. It's not a big complete hassle. But look how much you could cut. Basically half of this width down. Now, if you're using a work knife, he has this nice pen knife on it and everything. If you're using a work knife, wider width in your hand comes in handy for comfort. If you're doing a lot of heavy work, you know, if you got a little small squirrely blade run in there, you're going to get blisters and stuff like that unless you're wearing gloves, which is the same. Oh, and the reason why I like this one, you know, of course, it's yellow knives matter. It's a yellow knife. We got this orange guy right here. This is the Sunfish. You guys know I like Sunfish and everything. I really got more into Sunfish after Knife Detector did his little series. You know how that is. We get influenced by watching videos, and I was watching a lot of different knife reviews, you know, and stuff like that, and Knife Detector got into his Sunfish kick there, and man, my desires for Sunfish jumped up. I had to acquire many more. So I'm not trying to do this. I'm not trying to influence you to buy a bunch more knives and everything, but it's just nice. You know, some people look at this and go, man, that's too fat. It's a funky looking blade. It weighs a lot. You know, it's not for me. That's all right. That's what I said. You know, these knives are made for different purposes for different reasons, you know. They used to call these things like a pocket axe. You could sit there and beat the hell out of it, you know, put a rope on there, wham, smack the hell out of it, and not worry about, you know, it being a little dainty knife. I like this one because of the orange color, and it's like one of the fattest, like, elephant toes I've got. It's an older, you know, Rough Ryder. But it's got a decent, you know, it's not a real stubby secondary blade. It's got a decent amount of belly on it. Feels good in the hand, fills the hand up, and it's not super heavy. Each one of these, you know, I'm not going to go on a weight and specification of everything, because look, I'm already running my mouth off. We're almost out of time, and I haven't even got halfway across the tray. All right, doctor's knives. This particular one I like because it's a pipe doctor. So this also comes in useful for cleaning out channels. Instead of worrying about like scratching something potentially by using a toothpick, with this one, it's just the right size for cleaning out the gunk, because a lot of these come pretty gunky. But you just lift up the blades and you put a rag in there, and look, bing, fits right in. And it's rounded, so you're not going to have to worry about it dinking up something. Oh, which also covers this one with canoes. I like canoes. You know, this one was originally white, then I dyed it blue, and then I finally did orange on it. I like the deeper part on this. I was experimenting because This is a factory one here. This is the way the factory came with that one orange. And this one, like I said, I dyed it. And the way I got the blue off was I was testing to see how long would it wear off. Because it doesn't just rub off on your hand when you dye it and everything. It has to wear off. And if you scrape it, it's bone, you know. If you scrape it, it'll come off. But some of it seeps in there, you know, and stays in there, which kind of helps darken this up a little bit. But anyway, so that's those. Let's see what time we've got left. 15 minutes. So I've gotten up there and through here and just explained some different patterns. Of course, canoes, you know, this one, I like the way it came out. And a canoe is just like a really great, you've got like a spear, kind of like point blade and everything. And this one doesn't have a real good walk and talk on it. The blade just kind of like limps down. See how it doesn't like close down. I need to oil it some more and clean it up a little bit, but it's been through baths and stuff like that. And did I bang this one? Sometimes the when you start using them a lot, the Rough Riders, the blade might start getting a little bit of blade play. All you got to do is just pat it a little bit. I used a vise the last time I did this, but you can just tap it with a rubber mallet or a nylon mallet or something like that. And the only reason why you're covering up, you can even use one of these rags. Just protect it from metal to metal scratching on there. But that'll tighten up. That'll center blades. That'll tighten them up. Stuff like that. So there we go. We've gone beyond my limit. And we've got more to go. Let me just do one real quick one. This is in a class by itself, the Sauce Chef. It's this very good like kitchen knife and everything. I use this one all the time in the kitchen. I hardly ever bring it out and everything, but I really love this knife. So there we go. We've gotten all the way up through there. We still just got to do these. We'll do that next time. So yeah, if you want to do, you know, if you've got a channel and you want to do, pick however many you want, 5 or 10 or however you want of your favorite of one brand, put up, and then explain what you like about them, you know, because that's like with me. I was gonna say, all right, just pick some patterns. Well, I can't just narrow it down because I like all the different patterns. So I just found myself just filling this thing up with more and more knives. No, you got to stop, man. You got to stop. You're gonna run out of time. You're gonna run over time, which I did. Anyways, there you go. I hope you found that somewhat informative. And if not, it just gave me a chance to talk about knives I like. So thank you for watching. Watch for part 2 and 3 or whatever. I'll just pull out a tray of knives and we won't eat them, but we'll discuss them. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.